Courtney Cox here with Zach Cox at Gillette Stadium. And Zach, we've made it the final week of preseason, and we've got a lot of news to get to today. Three top stories that we're going to break down. Let's kick off with something that happened yesterday, but a lot of the fallout came today. Eric Decker announcing his retirement on Instagram. A lot of players and Bill Belichick very, very complimentary about Decker.
Yeah, Decker, he was a consummate pro. He had a lot of very productive seasons in the NFL, lasted 8 seasons, went over 1,000 yards in 4 of those seasons. But it just became pretty clear once he joined the Patriots that this really just wasn't going to work. I mean, he struggled in practice. He failed to impress in all 3 of the preseason games he played in. He didn't even play a single snap with Tom Brady in last week's game against the Panthers. And then there are reports today that even before he announced his retirement, the Patriots were talking about him in trade talks. And this definitely seems like a kind of situation where Bill Belichick goes to him and says, "Eric, we're going to release you." And he says, "Yeah, you know, it's probably just time to call it quits."
All right, on to story number 2. During Coach Belichick's morning press conference, our phones were all blowing up with Twitter saying that Shaq Mason had agreed to a deal with the Patriots. Bill Belichick would not talk about it during this press conference, but he was there after practice. He talked about it. Shaq Mason, very, very nice out of Georgia Tech. What were your first impressions of this?
Well, for one, it's a nice bump for Shaq Mason. He was entering the final year of his rookie deal. He was probably going to be in line to get a bigger contract extension if he waited or a bigger contract rather, if he waited to go to free agency next spring, but gets it out of the way early, as some Patriots players have done in the last couple years. He gets a 5-year deal worth up to $50 million reportedly. So that's $10 million a year. That's a pretty good chunk of change for a player who's really become a kind of a franchise cornerstone for the Patriots. He's going to be, I believe, if he reaches the full scope of that contract, he's going to be the 7th or 8th highest paid guard in the league. So good money for him. And I mean, if he has another season like he's had over the last couple of years, this could end up being a pretty good deal for the Patriots too. So it seems like a win-win all around.
Last but certainly not least, Tom Brady on WEEI this morning, ending his morning phone call with them early when they kept asking about Alex Guerrero. Bill Belichick was then asked about Alex Guerrero during the morning press conference. He wasn't having it.
No, and this is going well, it is a little bit beaten to death, but this is going to continue to be a story because Tom Brady kind of made it a story. For the longest time, in every single interview he gave, he credited Alex Guerrero for basically being the person who allowed him to continue playing in the NFL at such a high level at the age that he does. So when he gives so much kind of credit to Guerrero over the years, when he really kind of pumps him up for over all this thing, and with the kind of the questions about Alex Guerrero's past, obviously before he started working with Tom Brady, there's a reason that these questions are going to be asked. I can see why Tom Brady and in turn Bill Belichick don't want to answer them, but it's kind of hard to argue with the questions being asked. I think some Patriots fans are definitely sick of it. That's kind of the sense that I get from talking to fans and from looking on Twitter, but it's a story. I'm sorry, but it is a story. Also on Twitter, a lot of people confused because Bill Belichick did say, "I'm not going to talk about our staff," and then people are saying he's not part of your staff. Bill Belichick always has gone out of his way to say that Alex Guerrero is not part of his staff. So it is a little bit interesting to know whether anything has changed in that regard between that whole Belichick-Brady Guerrero relationship, because Alex Guerrero was on the Patriots team playing to Carolina last week. He wasn't on the sideline, so who knows what those responsibilities are, whether anything's changed, but that's why the questions are being asked.